Arlene Pellicane is a speaker, author, and marriage expert, passionate about helping couples build strong, joyful relationships. She's written books like Making Marriage Easier and co-authored Screen Kids with Dr. Gary Chapman. So, Arlene, thank you for joining me today.
It's so much fun to be with you again, Nancy. Thank you for having me.
Again, it's this year's theme is on National Marriage Week is pursuing a lasting love. So, in your experience, what's one of the most important decisions couples can make to build a strong, lasting marriage?
Yeah, at this moment in my book, Making Marriage Easier, I share the 4 decisions that have really helped James and I. We've been married 26 years. And as I was writing the book, I'm trying to think, like what are those key things that really helped us? And if I had to boil it down, I would say serve your spouse. It's decision number 3. And it is very countercultural. We live in a time where it's like, well, if you're not doing things for me, if you're not making me happy, if you're not doing things to make my life easier, why am I with you? We're kind of like in this attitude of what have you done for me lately?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when we turn that into, wait, this whole idea of being married is to help one another. So, sweetheart, how can I help you today? How can I serve you today? And so when we have that attitude of, is there anything I can do for you today? It like just turns everything around that now it's a joy. And then if you serve, you feel good. You're like, oh, I was helpful like that actually. So let's say your spouse doesn't return by saying, now what can I do for you today, honey? They just turn around and take whatever it is you did for them.
Yeah.
You still get that blessing of, I served you, I helped you. And, I think about we have that, it seems derogatory, like to like, oh, you're going to serve someone.
Yeah.
But it is, as a Christ follower, this is how we become more like him, to serve. And I think I
Yeah.
always love to say, like, you didn't marry Adolf Hitler, right? Like, you picked a good person. So,
Yes.
this good and decent person, as you love and serve them, they're going to get the clue and be like, oh, I should probably ask you now. Well, how can I
Yeah.
help you today? So, it's just this attitude of, I'm not here to see what I can get out of you.
Mhm.
I'm here to see how I can support you, bless you, love you. And as you do that, you're going to find a lot of joy along the way.
Absolutely. And it makes me think about humble yourself, right?
Yes,
And that's hard.
it
When you have to
is.
humble yourself and break yourself down and say,
Yeah.
all right, I gotta swallow my pride and
Mhm.
just be kind, be Jesus, Christ-like in my walk and Christ-like to my husband or my spouse or whoever. I mean, it's just so important, especially important to God, because again, I'll always say God loves marriages. He just
Yeah.
loves marriages and he wants to see you stay together and to
Yeah.
treat each other respectfully. And
And
so,
when I'm talking to people, Nancy, I think people will feel like, but I do it so much already. Like, do I have to really serve him again? That they
yeah,
feel like I've been doing this for years again. And I do think it's like the enemy and lies thinking like, oh yeah, you don't have to do that anymore. But for us to realize like, wait a minute, no, I am going to do this for the audience of God. God is watching me and I will do
right,
it again. And then,
right.
right. And then if we humble ourselves, God exalts us. And so
Yeah.
just keep trusting God in that process of, I'm going to keep doing the right thing. And I know I'm going to stand before God one day and give
Mhm.
report. So I can't give a report for what my spouse does, but I can give a report for what I do, right? And then I'm
Yeah.
still going to serve even when I feel like, oh, I have to do this again. It's like, okay, let's just do that day by day grace.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. That's it. Grace is the word.
Yeah.
So like in making marriage easier, this is the book, everybody, so you could see it. You talk about the importance of positive communication. So what's one simple way couples can shift towards more uplifting conversations
Yeah.
in their marriage?
We often often when we're talking about communication, we talk about talking, which is good and that's true. So, be kind, be true. Is it helpful? Those are good questions. You can say hard things to your spouse. So, good communication doesn't mean, oh, I never say anything difficult to my spouse. No, it means I will be kind when I say it. I will say things that are true and I will look to see like, is this helpful?
Yeah.
But I think another part of that is listening, learning how to be a good listener. And if we
Mhm.
concentrated on let me listen better, I think that might improve your communication even more than let me talk better, right? Because we're all pretty good at
Yeah.
talking, but we're not that great at listening. So I always perceived that I was a very good listener, right? And Jesse, we've been married 26 years. And just in the past, I'd say like year or two, my husband has pointed out you always complete my sentences. Not always, but many times, right? So if he's saying something like, "Oh, I went to I'm like, the market. You went to the market." And he's like, "No." "You went to your friend's house." He's like, "No." Why are you talking for me? And that is that assumptive listening of like, I know what you're going to say and I'm going to beat you to it. And I've always perceived it as like, oh, I'm really tracking with you. And I'm trying to like show you that I'm tracking with you. And my husband will joke, you can obviously read my mind. So for me, it's been like, shut your mouth. And I still do it. Like I'll still complete the sentence and then I'll back up and I'll say, oh no, I'm sorry. You tell me, you say it.
Yeah.
So it's something I'm learning. So listening is something you can learn, and that's something wonderful. So
Yeah.
check yourself. Do you complete your spouse's sentences so that they can't get the words out? Because you're doing a lot of wives do this to their husbands. If you look around, you will see this. Another thing is the celebrity listener, where everything turns into about you. So your spouse is sharing about their day, about their troubles, and you instantly go to, oh, that's nothing. You should hear what happened to me
Oh
today.
my
And you
gosh.
go into the thing about what happened to you. So it's this like, whatever it is that's happening in conversation, it must turn back to me. So,
Yeah.
think maybe of a halo around the speaker, whether this is your spouse or someone else. And while the speaker has that halo around them, they are the celebrity. It is not you. So
Yes.
just listen fully to their story. Wow, that's interesting. I
Yeah.
can't believe that happened. Tell me more about that. They are the celebrity, not you. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times our spouse feels like, well, they don't really care about me or they don't really listen. Well, why?
Yeah.
Because, we're shifting back, let's say, to ourselves. And then the last
Mhm.
thing I want to say about it is the husband, it's usually the husband, is the fixer, right? It could be the wife, but you say
Yes.
your problem, you say your thing, and all you want is like, oh, that's terrible. That's all you want. But
Yeah.
instead, you get like, oh, well, what you should have done is this, this, this. And then next time, make sure you do this and that. And you're like, I was not looking for the solution. So many times you can ask your spouse, do you want me to fix this or do you just want me to listen?
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. Oftentimes I'll go like I have to say there's a point to this. I
Right.
know there's a point to this,
Right.
so I have to shut up. I can't say anything because I know he's gonna say something.
That's right.
There's a point.
Just
So
wait for it.
yeah, I can't wait for it. Well, I love this chapter in your book, and I turned to it. It's about social media.
Mhm.
And you say in the book, it is unrealistic to think your spouse will be able to make all your wishes come true. And then when you said, and make it easier, you said, social media often doesn't represent reality. Remember, it's a highlight reel. I
Yeah.
love that. I mean, can,
Yes.
can we just, can we talk about that?
Yeah. Like just think when you're scrolling through social media, you're looking at someone's vacation, you're looking at something you need, like something to buy, like I was looking at like travel clothes, right? And then all of a sudden I'm getting all these really cute outfits for like, oh, it doesn't wrinkle and right? And it's like it knows what you want to look for. So to
Yeah,
understand when we're with our spouse, wow, how can our spouse compete with this supercomputer that knows exactly who you want to follow and know about, what you're trying to buy, what need they're just kind of pressing on, like, hey, remember that diet you were thinking about? You got to go back to that. You're right. They're pressing on all those things. And it used to be also, think when we picked up, let's say, a magazine or we watched a home TV show, we understood like that is staged. Like people came over to that house, cleaned it all up, and then took photos of it. But when we go on social media, we think, oh, this is how they live. Like this is how these other people live. And we don't realize that is fake. And maybe the whole day or a lot of time has gone into portraying themselves in a certain way. And then
yeah,
when the camera is off, everything just kind of woo, and goes back to normal, right? And
Yeah,
every people
yeah.
are not happy together. They just take the happy picture together and then they're like, okay, picture's done. Let's move on.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's much better to realize that wait, these are just highlights. This is not how they live all the time. And I really don't know what's happening in their real life and their real marriage. And it used to be, right, Nancy, we would look and we think, well, let me see the couples in our community or the couples at the school or the church, and let's kind of gauge how we are. Because we're all like this. And we kind of compare and say, like, oh, well, they went there. How come we don't go there? Oh, they're really in trouble. I'm grateful we're not in that much trouble. Well, now we're comparing to the whole world on social media, where you're not just comparing yourself against people you know, you're comparing yourself towards with anybody and also celebrities like influencers that make their way by
Yeah,
showing you all these really cool things. So that's why you think, why is my life not so cool like this influencer with a million followers? So
yeah,
to
yeah,
realize, wait a minute, I'm comparing myself to the wrong things. And it'd be much better to have a very anemic social media following, but have that one relationship with your spouse or, your mom or whoever, that
yeah,
to be a strong relationship that will be so much better. Just think of it, they're followers, they're not even friends. So for us
yeah,
to get that all in perspective.
yeah. It's reality,
Yeah.
right? What are you really showing here? And
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I love what you said. I think that's going to help somebody because it definitely helped me, and I thank you for that. Thank you. So it's easy for marriage to become all about the kids.
Yes.
So how can couples keep their relationship a priority while raising a family?
This is very difficult. And I think it's a snare for a lot of us in modern society, especially moms. It doesn't have to be moms. Moms and dads both do this. But, I have three children, two in college, one in high school. And when that first child, Ethan, was born, of course, it's like the baby is like Simba in The Lion King, exalted. And it's like, look at this child. And that's good. Like, wow, we have a baby. And when you have a baby, everything revolves around the baby. And it should, because the baby needs you to stay alive. But then there's a shift, right? The baby becomes a toddler and then goes to school and then et cetera. And many times we as parents, married couples, we don't make the shift. We still make everything around the baby. And when we
Mm,
live like that, and then our kids grow up and they leave our home, and we find ourselves to be empty nesters, and we're like, it's Friday, and we have no idea what to do for the weekend because every weekend for the last 20 years, we've been at soccer and piano and volleyball and driving places. And you kind of lose, like, what are we supposed to do now? So
yeah.
it's really important to recognize, wait a minute, the marriage relationship is the priority relationship, like you were a husband and wife before you
Hmm.
were a mom and a dad.
Hmm.
And the way we test that is, when was the last time you went on a date? Right. And if you think, wow, we haven't been, I remember talking to a friend and she's like, we haven't been on a date since the kids were born. And her kids were like 5 and 3. I'm like, that's a really long time. So part of it is realizing, wait, keeping a relationship, a
Hmm.
connection between husband and wife is important.
Hmm.
So having, for instance, just like 5 minutes on the couch as a rhythm after dinner, that you sit for 5 minutes. It's not long, but you just sit on the couch and how was your day, honey? You talk, you hold hands. Like, can you imagine? It's such a short, small amount of time, but it shows, like, and believe me, this is a nice idea. I get it. My husband and I have to admit, we don't do this. So I'm just throwing out an idea to you, but we do try to do something. So whether they even date night, researchers found, if you will date once a month or twice a month, you will get, so about half of people, married people, do that, and about half don't do that. 52% do not do that. They say we only date a few times a year. And
Hmm.
what they found was, if you will date monthly, you will get a 15% boost in things like not likely to divorce, good communication, good sex life, happy overall in marriage, just by going out once a month. So
Yes.
one way to stop from being that child-centeredness is, do something as a couple together. If your kids don't like the babysitter, so you're like, I can't leave poor little Johnny with the babysitter, but the babysitter is safe. Johnny just doesn't like when you leave. You just need to leave Johnny. You just bye bye, Johnny. Mom and dad are going on the date. And
Yeah.
then when you have activities in the, like all the kids are signing up for different activities, then you also have to ask yourself, like, how is this going to affect the home? Like, how will this affect our energy levels? My husband is much better at this than I am. I'm more like, let's just say yes, it's going to be so enriching and good for everybody. And he's more the voice of reason to say, that's probably too much. So we should, he made that decision that all three kids would do the same activity so that we didn't have to run over to all the different spots. So everyone played the piano, everybody did martial arts. So it's very funny, but it really does work.
Great advice. I'm sure that's helped someone out there to know how to navigate that. And so I would think even wouldn't it be helpful too? So if you couldn't get a babysitter at all, say there's somebody out there that doesn't have family nearby or doesn't really want to have a babysitter come in, maybe even if you put the kids to bed, you could make that little special time,
Yeah.
like a little date night after they go to bed,
And
if
that
you
is
can
the
afford it.
intention. Yeah, that's like saying, hey, this is our situation. We are going to make a plan. I had a friend, she had 5 kids, same situation like you're talking about. So they made it, and that they didn't have a lot of screen time, the kids. So they would have a special, like, hey, we're going to have a movie, right? And then the kids would watch the movie, and then the mom and dad would put out a tablecloth and put out candles and sit and
Oh,
have a candlelight dinner. And then that's a good memory for the kids, right? That they would remember, oh, Friday nights, that was our movie night. And mom and dad, they'd like sit at this table with candles. I mean, that's a really good memory for kids to have. And that
that's adorable.
they didn't even have to leave, the house to do that.
That's adorable. I love that idea. That's great. Well, you got to get creative,
That's
right?
right.
You got to get creative. So, now marriage should be fun, but many couples lose that along the way. And we were talking about that. Why is fun a
Um,
necessity in marriage? And how can couples bring it back?
yeah, we tend to get busy. So that we think, oh, we've got too much on our calendar. We don't have enough money. Like we have so much to do. We have to put off fun. And then we think, wow, we haven't had fun in a very long time, and that's a good question to ask your married friends. Hey, when was the last time you guys had fun together? And if you get like kind of this blank stare, then it's a good wake up call or someone to ask you, right? That, oh, we
Yeah.
better do something that is fun because fun is the thing that drew you together in the first place, right? It wasn't that, oh, this person is okay to be around. I guess I'll marry them. It was like, oh my goodness, when I'm with this person, I'm laughing and I'm happy and we're doing things together. I remember, dating James, we could just be running errands and I'd be so happy. He had me restore furniture, like his parents had like this old table in the attic, and he had me help him restore it. And I just thought that was the most fun thing in the world, right? I should have known that was a precursor to a lot of home improvement projects. But we had fun. Like you made whatever you were doing fun.
Yeah.
And now, of course, you're very familiar with each other, so it's not as fun anymore. So part of it too is kind of remembering, how did I used to act? And how can I be more playful again with my spouse? How can, give the look and the smile and squeeze the hand, and these are not things that come naturally. I mean, they don't come naturally to me. Like you have to really think about it. Like, oh, we're here on this date. How can I make this more fun? How
Yeah.
can I like smile and hold your hand and kiss you and make this more fun? So you have to be more serious about fun, which is one of, the decisions. Take fun seriously in my book. And then in my book, I have a list of like 50 activities, whether it's bowling or, stargazing or hiking, whatever. So look through it because most likely there are a few things that you both like. One of you might like it more, but you both can do it. Circle those things and go out and do the things. Because many times it's like, well, we don't know what to do. Like, what should we go out and do? But what they found is if you have 2.6, so about 3 core pursuits you can do together, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's pickleball, you like to read together and talk about it, you love to go to coffee shops, whatever it is, you have these things you like to do together that really helps you in your
Yeah.
marriage today. And also as you're looking towards retirement in the years ahead, that if you have the core pursuits together, you don't fall apart when the kids leave and you still continue to do those things together. So my husband and I are taking up ballroom dancing. We're really not that great at it, but we take lessons and it really has been fun.
That's great. I know people that have done that. They
Yeah.
love it. It brings you closer together.
Yeah, and you're still moving, so it's kind of good exercise. And you've seen lots of people in their 80s, they can still dance. So we figured this is something we can do for
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah, awesome. My sister, well, her late husband and her used to go all the time and look for butterflies and birds
Oh,
to.
it's so sweet. That's so amazing.
So yeah, I mean, it's just like you could find the smallest things to go and do together. Just that, nature is one of the greatest things that God
Yes.
gives us so that we could go out and just look at it and
Oh,
just gaze upon it, right? It's just so beautiful. But, what resources can couples find at marriageweek.org to help
yeah.
strengthen their marriage during National Marriage Week?
It's such a good place to go. Marriageweek.org. Every February 7th to 14th is National Marriage Week. And this year we are doing something we've never done before. And those are free virtual events every day of Marriage Week. In the evening, there are live streams. You can sign up at marriageweek.org. It's completely free. And every night there's a different topic. So one night might be parenting and how do you keep your marriage front and center? Another is handling conflict and how do you go through crisis? How do you put more fun in the marriage? Jim Burns and my friends, Bill and Pam Farrell, all of those guys are my friends. They're doing that fun night. Dr. Willard Harley of His Needs, Her Needs is talking. There's so many. So look at the different speakers, look at the topics, and then sign up for what really piques your interest and go do that. It's free. It's all there at marriageweek.org from February 7th through 14th.
That's wonderful. Now, if it's available there, say like they miss one night, is it
Yes.
recorded so
It
that they
is
can go back?
recorded, so they do need to sign up for it, and it will be available the week of Marriage Week. And then I'm not sure how long it's going to be available, so you do need to do it now, like do it this week, and then you can follow National Marriage Week and always find out how those replays are available.
Wonderful. And you can get Arlene's book, Making Marriage Easier, on her website, arlenepellicane.com, or where you can get it wherever books are sold.
That's right.
And so, Arlene, what would you like to leave my audience with today?
Wherever you are in your marriage, you can get closer to your spouse. And it can be easy things, the same way that you would plan, I need to go to the gym. But if you just think, I need to go to the gym, you never go. But if you get a friend to go with you, if you put out your shoes and your outfit the day before, if you set your alarm clock, all those things help you to get there. And it's the same thing in marriage. If you're like, I want to have a good marriage, but you don't do anything, it's kind of like a nice wish. But you can do small things, whether it's date night, whether it's asking your spouse, hey, can I help you with anything today? Just little things and be proactive, and you will see your marriage grow. And it's been such a joy to be with you, Nancy. The book is Making Marriage Easier.
Thanks for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this interview, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share for more Christ-centered conversations. Visit the website, thecallwithNancySabato.com. Until next time, all glory and honor to King Jesus.